The 40 Years of WrestleMania Watch-Along series is back for episode 3. We're going right up to date. WrestleMania 39, Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. My name is Steve. I'm joined with NX Steve in the house. And just to tell you where you need to be on Peacock or the WWE Network, depending on where you are, of course, you need to be going to 2 hours and 23 minutes and 6 seconds. So as you can see, you've got a timestamp just below me. So we are just about 30 seconds or so away before we will press play. Of course, Rhea Ripley did win the 2023 Royal Rumble. Of course, she elected to go to SmackDown to take on Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship at that time. Of course, that's what set this match up. And of course, Rhea Ripley wanted revenge for what happened at WrestleMania 36 after Charlotte had won the Rumble and went for Rhea, who was the NXT Women's Champion at the time. Of course, that was during the pandemic. We've got the countdown now. 3, 2, 1, press play. So we are here now. We first see George Kittle, the San Francisco 49er, in the crowd. So that's how you know you're in the right spot. And don't ask me any further questions about that, please. But yes, anyway, we've got to say Charlotte versus Rhea. Of course, Rhea now about to make her way to the ring. Obviously, we're just going to have a bit of the background there between these two. First off, the stage and setting for WrestleMania 39 has to be one of the most beautiful ever.
Yeah, I mean, if you think back, I can't remember, what was the one with Batista Triple H where it was just a big screen and it was so boring? It was only a couple of years, 37 maybe, or 30. I don't know, it was such a boring production, but at least with this one, do you know what I mean? They've made an effort, they've made it look presentable, and they use the aesthetic of how the ring looks for people's entrances, which is so much better.
Absolutely. Of course, this one, literally, they go Hollywood for this one, and it really feels like it is Rhea's making her way to ringside as well at this moment. Of course, Mummy always on top. It's Mummy versus the Queen here. Obviously, this, for people that aren't aware, we'll say this nice and early doors, one of the reasons we picked this match here is because of the fact it's absolutely amazing. It's actually your match of the year from last year, if I'm not mistaken, NX Steve.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, with everything that was put on last year, the fact that I feel that these two stole the show on night one. Like, for me, night one of WrestleMania, if I could put it as just a single night, it would be my pay-per-view of the year. But unfortunately, you have to take it as a whole package with the 2 nights. And I just, like I said, for me, the fact that it steals the show and it goes, the fact they don't get the main event as well, and they end up doing the tag match is fine. Understand, biggest story, but dude, this is an absolute quality match, and the stuff that happens in this match, the spots that we're gonna see, is just phenomenal. Like, it just completely blew me away as it just kept progressing, and I was, oh my god, this is actually fantastic. Like, I know Charlotte is a good wrestler, I know Rhea is a good wrestler, but this is just phenomenal.
Well, you actually took my next question. I was going to ask you, and I agree, because both female performers are absolutely incredible what they do. Obviously, we see Rhea here now just posing here. She's about to enter the ring. But you said here, obviously, this wasn't the main event of night one. Of course, it was Sami and KO versus the Usos. Like you said, it's probably, someone said, the biggest story going into WrestleMania. However, Rhea was a Royal Rumble winner, which, of course, none of the other 4 that were in the main event were. But, of course, both matches ended up being absolutely incredible on the night. I think the winner really, deep down, was the fans looking back at it. But what's your stance? Should it be a Royal Rumble winner that's main eventing WrestleMania regardless of what night it is, or was it okay that it goes with perhaps maybe story over a Royal Rumble winner?
I think for me, for consistency, it needs to be the Rumble winner. I mean, it didn't make sense last year because of the Bloodline story. It doesn't make sense this year because of Roman and The Rock versus Cody and Seth. So, you know what I mean? 2 years in a row we're having a tag team match as a main event. Don't get me wrong, that in itself is a great thing to have to see as a tag team match main event WrestleMania. But the fact that they advertised the men's as winning a world championship title in the main event of WrestleMania, and the women's, obviously we got the first one with I think the first one was Bianca Belair and Sasha were the first 2 to main event it after winning a Rumble. If I'm correct, I don't remember any other female Rumble winners main event.
You won the Rumble win for her chance of WrestleMania.
Oh, that's right. You did the triple threat. That's right. Apologies. Yeah. So you had that one, and I think the Bianca Sasha one is the only other one where it's main evented a Mania. So yeah, consistency I think for me is the key. Or they just simply need to state if it's a main event world title match or if it's just a title match, because I think this is where people get confused all the time with it.
Absolutely, yeah, I would agree with that as well. It feels like there was confusion because in WWE's world, there are like 4 or 5 main events at WrestleMania, but that's not quite the case. There may be main event caliber, but there's a difference of main event caliber and actual main events. But we see Charlotte making her way to the ring here. The Queen coming to the ring in style here, of course, with the SmackDown Women's Championship. At this point, we don't have a WWE Women's Championship or a World Women's Championship at this point. Of course, this does become the World Women's Championship, of course, not long after WrestleMania. But for this evening, it is the SmackDown Women's Championship here.
I just I think it's Chris Jericho that said it, the fact that you either want to be first on or you want to be last on, because if you're first on, we've seen many times, and we've looked back over every single WrestleMania and we've gone, the amount of killer matches that open a WrestleMania show, it's one of them 2 spots. So like, even if you'd put this on first, I think this would have been like, I would have been just as happy with this going first. Like, there isn't a spot on the card where this is how good this match is, that no matter where this would have been on the card, it would still have been a great match. But I think obviously if you put it first, it sets the tone for the rest of the show, and everyone else has to follow it. And like, I know there's a lot of things in the news where apparently we'll talk about it just because it's a bit relevant. The fact that Charlotte apparently dug her heels in because she wanted this to be the main event. They put on a main event caliber show, and it's kind of like, I can see why you would do it, and like I can see why Charlotte would dig her heels in. But hey, as a fan, I have not lost out because I get to watch a quality wrestling match.
Absolutely. That leads me to 2 questions. But first off, I'm going to take what you just said there. Obviously, there are quotes coming out today from Ronda Rousey, allegedly, that this match was not supposed to go as long as it did. Of course, this match goes for around 23 minutes. When it does technically begin, we have got entrances, including this Samantha Irvin just currently introducing the combatants. So we will be calling the action in a couple of moments. So apologies for the delay for those who are eager to hear us call the action. But of course, Ronda actually in this said that this match was, women's wrestling, they don't usually get this chance to show this spotlight, but apparently, like you say, Charlotte dug her heels in. I think it was a different term used, perhaps a bit more cruder term used for this.
That's why I use that one.
But Charlotte basically said, no, we are going to, we're going to have an amazing match, basically, and refused the idea of going home and going backstage and getting to the finish of the match. These 2 wanted to steal the show, and arguably they did that because it's a part of WWE's top 5 matches to be in the Slammy Awards. So I'm guessing not too many people looking back at this now were that upset with the decision in the end. But the other thing that makes me come to you with a question, just as this match is going to start, do you think that maybe if that is true, because we have to take it as speculation, because that's apparently something that someone has said, and we don't know for legit reasons, but is this a case that, say, this match wasn't given the main event and it's put as the sub-main event, and they decide, we want to steal the show? Do you think that these 2 ladies at this point rather think we don't have that main event, so we have a point to prove, so actually this match turned out better than maybe what it would have done had it been given a main event spot?
Yeah, do you know what I think it did? Because if you think if they were supposed to, say, for instance, they were meant to go 15 minutes instead of 23, the bell has just rung, by the way.
Yes.
If this was going to go 15 minutes instead of 23 minutes, I don't think it would have been as good as what we actually got. And like I said, the good thing is all the power is in the 2 females, in the 2 wrestlers' hands here, because what are WWE going to do? Stop showing WrestleMania? Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, we have the power here, so we're going to do what we want to do. So I know it's frowned upon and it's not played out for many people previously, but like I said, we get a killer wrestling match, and like I said, my match of the year, and I'm not going to complain.
No, absolutely not. Of course, Rhea and Charlotte now look like they're about to grapple for the first time. Obviously, building suspense here as they now lock up for the first time here, obviously. And obviously, both ladies are used to being dominant as well here. Looks like that no one is actually winning this test of strength at the moment here. Obviously, we see Rhea does get behind Charlotte, but that's turned immediately into what looks to be some sort of arm lock here. Charlotte now taking the risk, going behind, slapping Rhea as well. Turns into a headlock here.
That's
going in
the
for the
Charlotte. Charlotte just has the ability to wind up her opponents.
Absolutely, but she ends up on a bottom first, and we see a suck it there from Rhea Ripley as well. There was the Irish whip there, the shoulder barge. Rhea did come She did actually end up on top there at that moment there. But Charlotte here, flip there, amazing. Goes for the clothesline, misses. A shoulder block in retaliation there. Charlotte knocking Rhea to the ground here. We see a clothesline then as Rhea goes over the top rope to the floor. See as well, Rhea Ripley at this point here. Not too impressed here with that. Charlotte obviously was sort of in a bit of a tweener role at this point, really, as well, wasn't she? She was kind of like both face and heel, if I'm not mistaken. Rhea Ripley obviously naturally has that fan base, but part of the Judgment Day stable, there is a heel group at this moment. But it feels like looking at going into this show, Rhea Ripley is the, dare I say, is the more popular choice with the fan base.
That's always the way with the heels nowadays. The heel is always the more favoured, which is, I presume, what Rhea Ripley's supposed to be. But you saying that, just thinking about it now, Judgment Day's been going for over like nearly almost probably 2 years now. That's
indeed, yeah.
That's mad. That's actually crazy thinking about that. Like how long that's actually been going.
It really is. Obviously, it started. The birthplace was WrestleMania 38, of course, was the match with Edge and AJ Styles, and Damian Priest was at ringside, and that led to the group actually starting. I believe it was either one pay-per-view afterwards, WrestleMania Backlash, or the pay-per-view after, where Rhea Ripley made her presence known to be a part of this group. And of course, as they continued on, it would be Finn Balor that would join next. That led to Edge being kicked out of the group. And as the summer played out, of course, they targeted someone that looked a bit dirty at the time. But apparently he was a bit too squeaky clean at that moment, but they definitely roughened him up a bit. It was Dirty Dominant Mysterio that would go on to join the group. And of course, as you say, we've gone about a year later, and JD McDonough are now part of that group as well. They are a 5-piece at the time of recording, but a beautiful kick there into Rhea Ripley from Charlotte in the corner there at this present moment. And obviously these two did have a match at WrestleMania 36 as well, like we mentioned earlier on, when Charlotte won the Royal Rumble. Rhea Ripley was still part of NXT at that moment. A great counter, by the way, in the corner here. Charlotte is about to eat the turnbuckle. Sells it really well as well. But would you say, obviously looking back at it, do you remember that match, of course, being in the PC WrestleMania 36? I believe it was the opener to night 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Surprisingly enough, right, that WrestleMania, the Pandemic Mania, I remember quite a lot of, just because it's such a unique circumstance and surroundings and stuff like that. But then the other thing as well is like, it was kind of like how we all thought Cody Roman was going to go last year, where you're like, Rhea's going to win this NXT champion, and then you forget that Vince McMahon's booking that show at that point, and you're like, oh my god. And then Rhea ends up losing in that fantastic white and blue ring gear, and it's just like I said, this was obviously at that point where NXT wasn't even considered a third brand, and it was still considered almost what do they call it?
Developmental.
Well, not even a developmental. I'm trying to think how I would package it now. It's almost like it's a bad word, NXT. Like Vince McMahon doesn't believe in saying it. He's like, say it too many times, like Beetlejuice, say it enough and it just appears. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, it's one of them things that we just think that it was booked wrong. But then I suppose on the plus side, it plays into this story now.
It really does. Obviously, when you look in hindsight, or looking to see how Rhea Ripley, how far she'd come from that moment, she wanted to prove that actually she is the one that's the dominant one here. And she showed some dominance here in the last couple of minutes. Charlotte eating the middle turnbuckle, quite physical as well. It's been a physical start to this match, and obviously we know that it's not gonna let up anytime soon. But right now we see a body scissors in the middle of the ring, legs wrapped around Charlotte Flair. Rhea quite dominant here, with Charlotte now face first in the canvas as well. The trash talk begins as well from Rhea at this moment. And I mean, would you actually agree that this is a good way to describe this match so far as physical?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the good thing when you put someone like Charlotte up against Rhea, because we've seen it for the last year now that Rhea has just kind of really dominated the Raw Women's division. And then if you go back to, like I said, a year ago when she wins this title, and the physical, like we saw a minute ago at the start of the match when Charlotte does a shoulder tackle and Rhea's the one to take the bump, and it's always good to see Rhea come up against someone of her same physical caliber, because you just see a completely different match from Rhea. Whereas most of the time, normal dominating matches, like how many times in the last year have we seen Rhea Ripley dominate Zelina Vega in about 60 seconds? So I'm always grateful to see these kinds of matches.
Absolutely, indeed, yeah. So two women that are used to dominating, and obviously right now Rhea is the one that is on top at the minute. Obviously Charlotte Flair taking a shot to the back there, really selling it as well there. Looks like she's in quite a lot of pain in the middle of the ring. We've seen now, she's going into the ropes. Counter from that time from Charlotte there.
Oh, bit of a sloppy back elbow. It's one of the, do you know what I mean? This is the worst part now, is when you know this is a good match and you're nitpicking all the bad things that happen, the little nitpicks, man. It's so irritating.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's give some highlight though to that German suplex. That was beautifully executed indeed there. 2 count as well.
See, the thing is, as well, now I can remember thinking, because this is only a year ago, my memory's not that bad. And I can remember sitting there thinking about how the crowd were. And I know that there's a certain point where this crowd picks up. And I know at this point, it's kind of like, we've seen a couple of good things. And I believe it's the German suplex off the top rope. That this crowd just instantly turns around and just goes absolutely crazy for it. And it's like, it's almost like people were expecting this to be that 15-minute match that was just going to be, yeah, it's okay, it's a good match for what it could have been. And then the fact that it just ramps up completely. It's just this is why I love this so much. It's just the fact that it completely gets that crowd involved and psychs them up so much.
It's almost that case of proving people wrong. People expected an obvious simple style match here. Look at that fantastic back elbow there from this point here from Charlotte Flair. But like you say, it's proving a point here, and obviously these women feel like they have a point to prove here. Facing to the turnbuckle there, indeed once again there. Rhea Ripley going to the ground. Charlotte's obviously been the one that's been dominated, it feels, for the last number of minutes, but now it looks like she's trying to get back into the match here, hitting a clothesline here onto Rhea Ripley. Rhea trying to hit a clothesline herself, but misses attempts and actually gets hit with another one. The Queen is on top at the minute here.
All I can see is black lipstick marks all over Charlotte's body. It's almost like, remember we used to see Warrior face someone and half his face paint would be on the other person by the end of the match.
Absolutely. The chops have begun. The woos have begun from the crowd as well. And I can tell you what, Jesus, she's not holding back, is she?
Again, this is great. Like a year later, we know that Charlotte's out there with a point to prove. We know that they're going for it now. You can pick up things a lot more differently now because you know the backstory. You know what they did to make this that good.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that Charlotte's there just targeted the knee. Of course, it's a natural thing she would always go for in her matches because she does the figure eight. But at the same time, though, when you look at it here, this is what she targeted with Rhea before, when Rhea was not at her level at WrestleMania 36. So we're going back to the this is how I beat you before and this is how I can beat you again kind of feel. So I like that little token's been put in there. But I mean, to be honest, just to go to your other point a minute ago, I mean, Charlotte Flair, when you said she's got a point to prove, I feel that's when we see the best of her these days. I feel that we don't always see the best of Charlotte Flair, but the thing is, when she does have this point, when she does have this sort of goal and need to sort of like go out there and steal the show, I do feel that sometimes it's hard to find many better than Charlotte Flair, and I think that's why she deserves her flowers, and unfortunately it gets more hate than she deserves. Yeah,
I mean, that's another great crossbody that Rhea's managed to reverse here, but this is what happens when you're one of the most dominant women in the brand and in the company. Great reversal to a DDT there, absolutely. Yes. And the sell, the pin needle response, reaction from Rhea there was just fantastic. Even there, the cut to the crowd and the crowd were on their feet. See that again? That's just fantastic.
Of course, that was initially a riptide attempt there from Rhea Ripley, countered into almost like a spike form of DDT. Rhea really hitting down the head first on the canvas, selling it so well. And like you say, it's the first of one of a couple of real big pops from the crowd there. They're like, oh goodness, that was got them off their feet. And of course, there's going to be some more on the way that will do that very, very soon. It's a fun match so far. It still lives up to that physical ability once again, but Charlotte now going back to the leg, although it's countered at the figure 4 or figure 8 is not going to be applied at this moment, although Rhea having to counter a second time.
But yeah, going back to my original point though, with great roll up here as well for kind of, yes. Oh, kick out. Yeah, okay. Just to go back to Charlotte quick though, that double big boot, both down. All right, we've got to breathe a moment here.
We've got to breathe up. There we go.
Just to go back to Charlotte. I mean, I know I've been there many times before where I'm sick of seeing Charlotte Flair as your world champion or whatever. And then there's so many times where her narrative or her creative hasn't been great. Like, I've always said it on this channel and any other channel I've ever been on, that Charlotte is best as a heel. She does her best work. And the fact that she is a 14-time champion, and I think people just they feel sick. She's almost in sort of Hogan territory. Like, I know a lot of people, like, you imagine sort of late 90s Hogan, WCW, NWO period, that people are starting to get sick and tired of him. But I think that that's great that she gets so much heat for it. because she's doing her job. She's doing what she does best in being a heel most of the time.
She garners reaction. Regardless of what happens, she gets a reaction from the crowd. And I think that always means that Charlotte is always going to remain relevant, because once you get a reaction, you'll keep being booked, and you'll keep being booked strong. And lovely fall away slam there from Charlotte to Rhea Ripley there. Yeah, the kip up is on its way. We just got to wait so patiently for it. Here it comes. Perfectly executed there. The hair as well. Flick of the hair.
But yeah, as I said, I know she gets a lot of stick, man. But like I said, I love Charlotte Flair. I think she's going to go down as one of, or if not the greatest women's wrestler at the time, at the present moment. Like, you can't argue with the 14-time champion. She delivers in ring. I mean, she might not be my favorite female wrestler, but she is one of the goats.
You can't argue with the ability that she has. That's the thing. She can back up what she's doing, and going to the top rope looks to be for a move. But Rhea has got hold of her, met her up there. Been knocked off the turnbuckle though, so it doesn't look like we're going to get any that sort of spot just now. Or are we? Rhea Ripley's back up there. Wow. The German suplex, and Charlotte just flips as well, lands stomach first. Kick out at 2 as well. The sell from Rhea Ripley, the emotional effect as well. This is the turning point in that match, everybody.
Crowd really hooked
in. This is that moment from here on in. To get a double feature of this as well is beautiful to see. Goodness.
Oh. The fact that she manages to get the rotation as well, because it's so close to being a bad rotation, but it's a spot on rotation. It's amazing.
It looks sick enough as well, doesn't it? Just to feel like make you want to wince, but done perfectly as well. But Charlotte immediately does counter there. Looks from the back suplex, goes over the top. A little bit of a knock on the knee. Now goes for natural selection. 2 count. Rhea kicks out. Rolls to the ropes as well. She gets herself near enough out of the ring as well.
Look at that ring awareness, just to roll straight out the ring. See, just quality. See, this is what I mean. This is how much the women's matches have evolved, and like the fact that the Rhea Ripley is doing things like that, like, oh, close pinfall, roll out the ring, don't need to do that anymore. And then back to a minute ago when we saw the replay from the German suplex on the top rope, the desperation in Rhea trying to crawl across the ring to pin Charlotte, just fantastic stuff.
Absolutely, indeed. There we get the CGI graphics there of the SmackDown Women's Championship. The beautiful shot there of the SoFi Stadium there. It's an absolutely beautiful stadium, and Charlotte on the floor misses a spear attempt, goes straight into the steel steps there at this moment here. Rhea Ripley can take advantage of that. Throwing Charlotte immediately back into the ring, not wasting any time. The pace has quickened up quite a bit here with these two ladies. Is it going to be a riptide attempt? No, not at all. She is going for what looked to be a back suplex, but it's actually slammed Charlotte Flair face first into the canvas for a 2 count attempt. Again, love. One thing I really love is the sell, not just of the superstar taking the move, but the superstar as well that is looking to take advantage of it. Because once a pinfall attempt is made and the kick out is there done, they sell it as if like, I've given everything. What more can I do here? And I like that when it's done in the match there, because then you start to think, right, okay, this becomes like a chess match from here between these two. And obviously, every move then you start, but it feels believable that you can get that free count.
Exactly, and like the fact that fatigue is setting in as well, because obviously we're not used to getting women's matches going these long. As Rhea attempts another riptide, German suplex by Charlotte on the counter. Yeah, like I said, the fatigue setting in, so everything starts to get more desperate, and the selling, the more desperate the selling is, that even more believable that this is.
Absolutely, indeed. We should start looking out for this point, see if there's any time that the referees go into these two and say, right, let's wrap it up. But another German suplex here. It looks like could be held on here from Charlotte Flair. She can attempt the trifecta of German suplexes.
She's planning on taking Rhea to suplex here.
Could be, but no, it looks to be a reversal immediately here. Elbows to the face here. Rhea instead going to do the German suplexes. Oh!
That's the one as well. The full rotation on the German suplex is fantastic.
It's not even from the top rope, that one. That one could have been nasty, but very well done. Get another replay on this one
as well.
Does she land on the red? She does land face first.
Face first. Oh, I remember that as well. I'm sure she doesn't get her arms up. God. So good.
Seems lifeless at the minute as Rhea goes for another German suplex, but it is countered again. Back elbows once again. Oh, look at that kick as well.
Massive big boot. Love that.
So
One of the best,
perfect
man.
by Rhea.
One of the best. Like hers and Drew's are just like, obviously Drew's is like the Claymore essentially, but it's such a great look. Like the look of it, the aesthetic of it is so nice.
It really is. That superb.
You go look at Chelsea because Charlotte knows she's like, oh man, that's gonna suck in the morning.
Yeah. Gonna go for that figure 4 once again. Could be a figure 8, but again cancelled. Rhea Ripley not allowing it to be applied at this moment. Charlotte been knocked to the ground here. Get another replay here of that standing German suplex, the rotation there, and of course face first there to the floor. Goodness.
Oh. See, I'm trying to work out who's like at what point that went wrong, because like, was it the fact that Rhea didn't go the forearms too quick enough? But who knows, man. But hey, I tell you what, it just adds to this match really, the fact that she went face first instead.
Well, big boot anyway from Charlotte there, knocking Rhea to the floor here. Could we expect to see a Charlotte Flair special that we see in most matches? It looks like she's going to that turnbuckle. Of course, Rhea Ripley waiting in the aisleway. Is it going to be a normal moonsault? Is it going to be a corkscrew? What can we see here? The WrestleMania sign in the background there, the stage looking amazing. Getting a big shot at the crowd as well here. Look at that. Moonsault there. Hitting Rhea Ripley to the floor as well.
I see what that is one thing I'm looking for. That's one thing I'm looking forward to this year of WrestleMania, is how it's presented from like camera-wise view, because like the stuff they've been doing Raw with their transitions and stuff recently in the last couple of weeks has been fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to how they do Mania.
True it is indeed here. Look at that spear. No, almost into the referee. Headbutt instead there. Are we going to get a Riptide attempt here? Is it going to land? It does. We've had about 3 attempts. This one has landed. 1, 2. Oh, kick out from Charlotte Flair, and of course again Rhea selling it so well.
I'm so glad that she kicked out of that first one. Like, I think if Charlotte had been pinned after one Riptide, I would have had to seriously knock this match. But the fact that she kicks out and Rhea selling afterwards, the desperation, she's like, no, what do you mean 2? I did the Riptide. It should be over. It should be a 3.
It's supposed to be a 3. It was supposed to be a get backstage.
I can tell what it was. Rhea didn't properly fold Charlotte up like a pancake there. It wasn't like, you know, Zelina Vega literally folds in half. Didn't happen, unfortunately.
Charlotte looks out of it. Looks out of it at this point. Been knocked to the ground again. Wonder what Rhea's going to attempt next now. It really does have that feel here of what will it do to put one of these ladies away. But a small package attempt there from Charlotte there. It was a kick out there at this point. And now Rhea going for that submission hold that she has there. Always looks brutal. But I tell you what, though, it looks even more impressive on someone like Charlotte, to be brutally honest, because obviously being a lot taller, you can execute
and
this.
Charlotte is touching the ground as well. Because obviously normally when she does this, the opposition isn't even like, they're normally floating.
Yeah, exactly. So they can't really be in there for very long usually. So they'll have to tap or find a way out of it. So, but Charlotte are actually able to try and crawl here to the turnbuckle rather than the rope at the minute. She's got to the rope. She's pulling herself up as well through the turnbuckle. Amazing stuff here. Oh, she's going back down here. This
submission in itself is almost like, oh, there's a ref bump, kind of.
Sort of. It didn't really kind of material. Spear. 1, 2. Oh, kick out there. Michael Cole doing a fantastic job as well on commentary here with the, you gotta be kidding me.
But yeah, the submission itself is almost like a modified version of a figure 4, just done with the arms instead of the legs. There's almost some sort of poetic justice in that as well.
Absolutely.
Look at this crowd. This crowd, oh my God. I've just seen who's in the crowd in WrestleMania. Oh my God. Would be someone from a certain football YouTube channel.
Oh, really? Okay.
Never mind. Yeah, a big one over at AFTV. If anyone knows, I've just seen one of the guys from that channel on here.
Can't say I'm subscribed. Look at this now, just straight rights from both ladies here. It's just like, yep.
This is great.
This is fantastic. Who is going to come out on top?
This here is essentially, well, the men can do this, so we can do it as well.
Exactly. Another big boom. Joe, it's sold so well. Execution of it as well. Fantastic. And this time we're finally getting the figure 8 on here. But Rhea's straight to the ropes, not even getting a chance to let it get into the figure 8. She knows she's been in a lot of trouble if that is executed perfectly. Amazing stuff here. Such a good match. Such a good match.
And look, ring awareness again, just to be on the outside of the ropes on the apron.
It's also that look now from Charlotte again. We're talking about that selling here. She's doing it once. What have I got to do? Like every time I get you in position for this submission hold, I know that this is going to finish it, but every time I do, you've got that awareness to get to the ropes. You seem to find a way to get out of it.
This isn't the same person I wrestled 3 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
I'm going to have to step my game up and go one better than I've done before.
Exactly. For that straight now, throwing her into the turnbuckle on the apron there, which actually like the steel post more than anything here. Charlotte now pulling Rhea. She's gone to the second rope, pulling Rhea up now to join her. Wow. Is this going to be a fall of place slam? Rhea's doing everything to counter this. Something tells me this could be this might not be good.
Is the finisher incoming,
I think it's the finish as well. Charlotte's just gone face first there into that steel.
That is great.
Look at
that dead position just lying across the top of the turnbuckle onto the ring post is great.
And it's the thing there that Rhea just for the first time she's knowing what have I got to do, what have I got to do. It just shows the facials of everything in this match because she just knows it. I've got you, and she's told Charlotte as well here, getting him into the riptide position. Super riptide off the second rope. Oh, fantastic!
Beautiful.
Folded like a pancake, and there we go. Snoot SmackDown Women's Champion. Look at the erupt. What a match!
Fantastic.
Absolutely good. Is it as good as you remember it?
Oh, every bit as good and more. Like I said, my only issue is now is I pick out the nitpick the bits that aren't as good. Like I said, the one back elbow that Charlotte does that looks a bit floppy, and then that random kind of ref bump. I was like, but man, still again, killer, man. Still, I'm so glad that I picked that as my match of the year. I'm always love it when a match impresses me more than what I think it's going to be, and it blows me out of the water like that. It's so good.
I find very interesting then this match. I almost thought at the time last year as well, Charlotte smiling on the floor, like you can see she's very proud of that match there. But you'd think like the last thing she'd think is like show her smiling on camera, but they do twice. It's almost proud of the match, obviously. But do you reckon it's also perhaps the try and say storyline of like, yeah, you got me tonight. You have come forward. You have shown that you're everything you said. You've improved, and I hope at some point we do get the third match between these two. Yeah. I do really, because they've had a series of matches, but to have a break for and then just do it for one more WrestleMania, you feel like there's a trilogy match in this.
You're almost thinking that it should be a trifecta, and that the next one should be a main event because they've had a match at WrestleMania. They've had a main event caliber match at WrestleMania. The next one should be the main event at WrestleMania.
I like it. I like it a lot indeed. Let's hope and see if it would be indeed. Rhea Ripley, though, is celebrating with that SmackDown Women's Championship there. The crowd are going crazy as well. NXT, you said it was your match of the year last year, so I don't think I need to ask what your star rating for this match one was.
5 stars, as usual, man. Like I said, my match of the year. I went and voted on the Slammies and gave it my match of the year. Just well deserved.
It truly is, it's a fantastic match. 5-star from me as well, I've got to say. But I'm going to try and get you to Dave Meltzer's rating if people are interested in it in a couple of moments' time. But what I will say very quickly is thank you to everyone that has been watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, make sure to hit that like button, share with a friend, and subscribe as well. Of course, you are watching this match here, Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley from WrestleMania 39. We've done 2 matches already in the series here, which you should go and check out. Bret Hart versus Owen Hart for WrestleMania 10. And of course, episode 2, which was actually released on Monday, also was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Macho Man Randy Savage, which of course that graphic has disappeared sadly. But some of the matches you can look forward to, which will be coming on this channel as well, include Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. Of course, we've got to run it back one more time, haven't we? We will be doing WrestleMania 25, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. Some say it's the greatest WrestleMania match ever. We will mention for the first time Trish Stratus versus Mickie James from WrestleMania 22 will also be coming on this channel. I can confirm, by the way, that Dave Meltzer did rate this match 4.75 stars, so almost at the 5 there for these two. But yeah, absolutely incredible match. Is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap things up here today?
That's just how I can see why Dave rated 4.75. There is some slight imperfections, but for me, 5-star match quality. Loved it. Can't wait. I mean, would quite happily watch it again.
Absolutely indeed there. And yeah, main event caliber match, like you said here, and it feels like that's what we've seen so far with all the matches. But if you haven't seen episodes 1 and 2, make sure and do those right now, and check out the video as well. More videos will be coming on the channel between now and WrestleMania of this 40 years of WrestleMania watch along series, including as well we will do WrestleMania 40 predictions as well, NXT Stand and Deliver will be coming on the week of the show as well. And of course, yeah, plenty of WrestleMania themed content, including WrestleMania What Ifs is also available on the channel in podcast form right now. You can see our faces discussing matches we would have liked to have seen at WrestleMania that were rumored, of course were predicted at one point to happen, but just didn't happen in the end. But that's all from us anyway. Make sure to like the video, share with a friend, and subscribe, and we'll see you for the next video. Thank you for watching, take care, and we'll see you next time.